so brace yourself for what the jukebox is for. This is FAFO, holler it loud. Fuck around with fiction, get the facts drawn. Getting triggers just the cost of the crowd. We're toxic to the lies, truth we're proud. This is FAFO, no smooth talk, no vow. You brought your stories, we brought the real. Now run your mouth and meet the sound.
Sad news to report today. I'm sure many of you have heard the headlines by this time, and certainly by the time you're listening or watching this, if you're not watching it live. But NASCAR driver Kyle Busch passed away from a sudden illness, taking kind of the motorsports world by storm. If you follow NASCAR or any of those, I'm not a big NASCAR follower. Of course, know some of the bigger drivers, some of the bigger names, and Kyle Busch was certainly one of those guys. One of the great drivers of all time. And whether or not you liked the man and liked his driving, and some people didn't because he was a competitor. But that man right there always gave you everything he had on that racetrack. And even some of his biggest critics even had to give him his props because of that. And it's just, it's wild. And every moment there's something new that comes out about what was happening with Kyle Busch, what was going on, what was this illness. We do know that his last win last week, just a few short days ago, really, hadn't been a full week yet. He had asked for medical assistance in his vehicle. And then apparently the day before he died, he was unresponsive while testing a racing simulator in North Carolina. That news just hit. So he was hospitalized yesterday, which would have been Thursday, the 21st. And they called it a serious illness is why he was hospitalized. There still has been no official cause of death. I expect we'll be waiting probably a few more days before we know. Of course, there's always speculation. And here on the FAFO podcast, the one thing I don't like to do is speculate. I like to know exactly what's happening, the truth of the matter, because you don't want to put out information that's not true. That's the worst thing you can do, is put out just all this misinformation that does not exist. So I wait. I'm always waiting to find out what is happening. All we simply know was he was experiencing a severe illness, which resulted in him being hospitalized. This is the statement they actually put out yesterday was exactly this right here. They said Kyle has experienced a severe illness resulting in hospitalization. He is currently undergoing treatment and will not compete in any of his scheduled activities this weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We ask for understanding and privacy as our family navigates this situation. And it's just, it's terrible, man. It's always terrible when somebody dies so young, right? And then, like when it's a star, a celebrity of some sort, it really kind of amplifies it for a lot of people, even people who aren't directly followers, again, like myself. And I grew up watching some races here and there, but I was never a NASCAR fan. Like, I don't get up and watch NASCAR on the weekends. I don't have NASCAR memorabilia in my house. It's nothing like that. When I worked for Lowe's at one point, of course, we had a few NASCAR things, but Lowe's was a big supporter of NASCAR. So there was that sort of thing, right? I grew up with great racing shows. Remember Days of Thunder? Loved that movie. All right. What about Six Pack with Kenny Rogers? So there were movies. I've always been aware of NASCAR. I know what NASCAR is. My girlfriend's actually been down there to the races a few times. All right. So she knows what it is. She knows that world far better than me. And it's just sad, though, when somebody like that passes away so young, especially when it's so unexpected. And now you would expect something like a wreck or something like that. Then you're not as surprised. We saw this with Dale Earnhardt and with a few others. And you're not surprised. It's a fast sport, and when something catastrophic happens, it happens. But when it's just an illness like this, it comes on suddenly. It's wild. I mean, they were, when was this? It was May 10th, I believe it was a race. He had said he was going to need medical assistance. He had a sinus cold, and exacerbated by the intense G-forces and elevation changes at the New York road course is what was reported at the time. He called in and said, "I'm going to need a shot." He said that during the race. And even afterwards, last week he was talking about, you can kind of hear it. I'm still not great. The cough was pretty substantial last week. And we were talking about this last night when it came out. I mean, this sounds like a pneumonia type of thing. I don't know. Again, I ain't even saying that because you don't know for sure. All you can tell is by the symptoms what it sounds like, and you can guess. But guessing really doesn't do us any good. His final race came on Sunday, where he finished 17th. I think they're driving the truck events, I believe. And everybody's been playing this clip. I've seen it several times. The Kyle Busch clip where he talked about winning, like his last race he won. I was going to play it, and I'm not sure if I should. And it's one of the, but it was, and I guess it makes, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not often just speechless. But when you hear things like that, and there's kind of a prophetic quote that happens from these people, like they make this quote, and then days later they pass away, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And so I had the quote. I was gonna play it. And then I got rid of it. Decided not to. And it's just, I was like, man, I don't know if I should. So I didn't. I got rid of the clip and I can't find it. I probably could have played. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's classless. I don't think it's that. It's just when you hear people talk about stuff like that, it tends to make you feel one way or the other. And it does that sort of thing. So I don't know. I don't know what to say in that sort of thing. Hey, good morning, Mike. Mike says he heard Greg Biffle just died too. Is that correct? I did not know that. I did not know that. That's wild. Yeah, that's kind of wild. I've got to look now. So I apologize for how this show started. Not how I had the show planned today. I will tell you that. I did not have the show planned this way. Yeah. Oh, Greg Biffle died. He died back in 2025, back in December. That's right. That was the other one we were trying to remember yesterday because we were having this conversation last night and couldn't remember what other star had just died. It was Greg Biffle. That's right. The plane crash, right? That's correct. Glad you said that. It was, yeah, it was. So he had died in, yeah, he had died in that plane crash. So again, and I'm sitting here trying to look for this on the fly as we go, but it's horrible. He lives behind his wife and 2 young children, and very young children too. I think his son was his son at 11, and his daughter 4. Oh God, dude! I had all this pulled up, and I didn't really plan on talking about it. And then at the same time, I felt again, you can't not talk about it. I read Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s message about this very thing. Talking about their relationship over the years and how it was a challenging relationship, but there towards the end, they had become pretty good buddies, and he was going to see him next week. And they had done a podcast together, a couple of them actually talking about all these things and laughing. And it's great to see that those relationships, especially that relationship, was kind of mended. But dude, it's still just a sad thing. And I don't know if something like that is easier to handle if this happens on the racetrack versus just getting sick and passing away like that from an illness. I mean, that to me is the big question, right? I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, which one is the most impact? Because we all have our thing. We all have the thing that really makes us feel about something a little bit differently. I mean, if you were a NASCAR follower, what did you think about Kyle Busch? Was he your guy? Was he the enemy? Because I'm truly curious about that because it's sports related. And NASCAR is a sport. And people like to think, well, all you're doing is sitting in a car, driving around in circles. Except you don't understand how good a shape you have to be in to do what they do at those speeds. You just can't be anybody and get in there and do that. That's not how it works. And it's just sad. It's sad. Brad Keselowski, he says, absolute shock, very hard to process. Hug your loved ones. There's a lot of these coming out. I mean, all of them releasing statements, sending their condolences. And I'll read a few of these. Denny Hamlin, who was probably one of his better friends, and they were teammates for the longest time, I believe. Denny Hamlin says, absolutely cannot comprehend this news. We just need to think of his family during this time. We love you, KB. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., there aren't really words for today. I've raced against Kyle for a long time, and anyone who's lined up next to him knows exactly what made him special. He gave you everything he had, every single lap, and he made all of us better for it. But more than the wins and the records. And I'm going to pull up the rest of this quote because I think it's a good one. But more than the wins and the records, I keep thinking about Samantha, Brexton, and Lennox, and the entire Busch family right now. That's where my heart is. Rest easy, Rowdy. The sport won't be the same without you. And there's Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s statement. And this is the one I wanted to read to you, too. I just thought this was pretty profound. And I touched on it a little bit, but here's his entire deal. He says, Kyle and I had a really challenging existence for many years. But we luckily took the time to figure out our differences. And that was something he instigated with a conversation in his bus around how we each manage our racing teams. I was super eager for us to get on better terms, but it was he who made the effort for that to be possible. We did some media together also to laugh through some of the things we put each other through many years ago. Most recently, we had even been discussing him running my late model at Wilkesboro this summer. He seemed extremely happy, and we had planned to meet up next Thursday to get his seat to the shop. He laughed over the idea of his fans and JRM fans having to cheer in unison during that race. Kyle was one of the greatest drivers in NASCAR history. No one can deny that. But he was also a father, a husband, brother, son, and a friend to many. My heart is broken for the Busch family. I will never be able to make sense of this loss, but I am thankful that we had found a way to become friends. And how deep is that? How heartfelt is that? I love that. And Joe Gibbs Racing, whom he wrestled, I think he raced for them for 15 years. They put out a statement saying our hearts are broken for Samantha, Brexton, Lennox, and the entire Busch family. Kyle was a fierce competitor, an incredible teammate, and far more importantly, a devoted husband, father, and son. His impact on our organization and on the sport of NASCAR will never be forgotten. During this unimaginable time, everyone at Joe Gibbs Racing and the Gibbs family are lifting the Busch family up in prayer. And they just keep flowing in. And it's, I just, man, it's a hell of a thing. It's a hell of a thing. And I guess this is one of the few times I really should have gone to, I stay off of X. I stay off some of these social media platforms because let's be honest, they're horrible. Some of these are horrible. And it's not that the platform is horrible. A lot of times it's the people on them who are horrible. And that's just the truth of it. It's just the truth of it. We were sitting here and reading a lot of these things. I was looking at his X account, and they're putting out fun stuff. I mean, you look at this, and everything up until yesterday is just looking forward to the future. Here we go. And then they put out the thing yesterday about Kyle's experiencing severe illness. We talked about that, canceling his activities. And so you see that. And so this is not something that was expected. It wasn't. Nobody expected this outcome. I think they knew when they went to the hospital yesterday it was going to be that something was really getting serious and wrong. But I do not believe for a second, just days ago, they thought there was a life-changing moment coming. I mean, it just declined so rapidly, and I don't know that it was rapid. Could it have been a pulmonary embolism that was caused by this sickness? Could have been a clot release. I mean, there's so many things. What could have happened here? Who knows? We talked about his chest up, him breathing, could have been pneumonia. We don't know. And here's the thing I hate. I hate that so many people are already trying to be the one to figure it out. And there's nothing to figure out. The thing we know for sure is that a good man and a great race car driver and a friend to many, a husband and a father, passed away. And a brother. I mean, his brother Kurt Busch is still racing out there. It's wild. Mike says, I love NASCAR. California had tons of tracks in the 60s and 70s. My dad and I went all the time. As a matter of fact, Clayton Clark, she will be the Grand Marshal of the Indy 500 race this weekend. Thanks, Mike, for that. And that reminder right there. And then I read things like this. And you guys can make of this what you will. And I'm just going to tell you that the episode I had done for today will have to be pushed until Monday because there seems to be a lot going on around this one thing. And I did not intend to make this episode today about Kyle Busch and about NASCAR, about things that I don't know a lot about. I don't know a lot about racing and NASCAR and any of that. I don't. I know it's fast cars going in a circle, and you got to have balls of absolute steel to do it. I mean, it is something else. But then I see things like this. Now, and you're going to get stuff like this because the internet and because people. Just 2 months ago, and this is what this says. Just 2 months ago, Kyle Busch won an $8.5 million settlement in a big lawsuit against a major insurance company. Then, despite being in good health, he declines rapidly this week and suddenly dies. I don't care what anyone says, a thorough investigation needs to happen here, implying something nefarious is going on. I don't believe that. I'm sorry, but I don't believe that. All right, great. He won a big settlement. That doesn't mean the insurance company's out to get him and came to get him. Doesn't mean the two things are intertwined at all. Sometimes life is just like that. But then you got people who are really getting into this, right? You got your conspiracy theorists and your people who jump all over these kinds of things. There's one guy. Some months, and this is his. This is not mine. He says, some months before Kyle received 24 stitches on his leg from falling off a ladder at his home. I wonder if an underlying infection like sepsis or depleted immune system complicated things. And then he lists Kyle Busch's health timeline. Early March 2026, you talk about this freak home accident, stool collapses, fixing a smoke detector, deep right leg laceration, 24 stitches in ER, missed no races. And then March to May, full recovery, continued racing normally, won the truck race at Dover in mid-May. We talked about that. And then May 10th, 11th, or during that same deal, he started getting that sinus cold. I mentioned that earlier. During the Watkins Glen race, powered through, requested the doctor post-race. And then, of course, Thursday rolls around May 21st. Hospitalized for severe illness, died some same day at age 41. And I got to tell you, he put together a little timeline, but you kind of missed down on a few things we've already talked about here. So if you're going to put together a timeline, put together a timeline. Now, I will say this was put together 11 hours ago, so the news about him passing out in the simulator just came down today, so I don't expect that to be in there. But he had made mention, of course, of having the lung issues and other things. So it's horrible. It's horrible. And I see a lot of this coming out. Denny Hamlin gave an interview about this. And he did this with, I think it was live on Good Morning America this morning. I tell you what. Let's hear from Denny. And I really want y'all to hear this too. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. I will put this in here. And I'll just play this for you guys. And then you can listen to it and make up your own mind. The Coca-Cola 600 NASCAR race and the Indy 500 is this weekend. I mean, the racing season is upon us. So let's check this out. I'm going to pull it up on screen. We just kind of listen to this together right here.
And joining us now is NASCAR great Denny Hamlin. Denny, thank you for joining us. It's nice to talk to you, but unfortunately, under these circumstances, not the best. But you posted on Instagram, my friend, that we lost our Kobe Bryant. Today we mourn, forever we remember. Rest in peace, Kyle. Can you tell us what he means to the sport?
I mean, I just know that as a race fan, every race that he was in was more exciting to watch than the ones that he wasn't. So, just simply put, he just kept our fans entertained. He kept our media members on their toes at all times. And just as a competitor, I can tell you, there's no way that I would have the wins that I have had I not had Kyle Busch as a teammate to push me to be better.
And speaking of wins, Kyle is one of the all-time greatest drivers, but you're right behind him on the list for all-time NASCAR Cup Series wins. Can you tell us what made him so good on the track?
Well, I mean, he just found speed in ways that you just couldn't imagine. I mean, I drove the same race cars as him. I couldn't go as fast as him. And so I remember when he came to Joe Gibbs Racing, in kind of the mid 2000s, it just changed how you got speed out of a race car. His racecraft was better than the rest. He knew how to put his car in positions to make passes that just seemed physically impossible. So it just, again, pushing all of us to be way, way better is my main takeaway from being teammates with him.
Yeah, you were longtime teammates, but you also clashed with him at times because he was known as a hothead. But he came a long way in his career. Can you tell us about his evolution as a driver and as a man?
Just the maturity. Really, a lot of it. He met Samantha. They had some kids together, which is fantastic, and that's the most heartbreaking part about this, right? Is he's been so invested in his son's future and career that surely will be ahead of him. But the guy wasn't always the most mature when I was teammates with him. He was only a few years younger, but man, it just seemed like he was just so brash, and he wasn't for everyone when it came to like his off-track personality. What was for everyone was his talent behind the wheel, and that's why everyone wanted him. And so I just know that he really went through a time right around when he was 30 years old where it was like, man, he started this family, and he just changed, just like all of us do that have kids one day. And so it definitely changed those peaks and valleys of his emotions, it seemed like. And you had a more steady Kyle Busch, and really the best Kyle Busch. And so over these last 10 years or so, 11 years since he had his first kid, you just you saw the evolution of him, and he became a man, and he became a great teammate. And RCR, that poor organization, had to go through the death of Dale Earnhardt, and now Kyle Busch, and just can't imagine being in the position that his family and his race team are in.
Yeah, I can't either. And it seems like Kyle was just his authentic self. He didn't hold back for anything or anyone else. And do you have any favorite memories of Kyle you want to share with us?
My first memory with him, and my favorite, is we were at a test. He was at my very first time he was my teammate. And he said he walked over to my stall and he says, "We're going to see how good you really are." And I said, "All right." He was coming over from Hendrick Motorsports, and at that time we were going to be testing with the same race team, and we just kept getting in the car. He would go P1. I'd up him. I'd make a quicker lap. He'd go out. He'd make a quicker lap, and we just kept going like 3 or 4 times, overtaking each other. And I knew right then, I was like, okay, this guy's going to push me pretty hard to get the best out of me. And there's no doubt, one of my strengths right now is 1.5 mile racetracks. It's because of Kyle Busch. I got to watch him and study him. He was just a master at getting speed out of race cars on those types of racetracks. And I just was in awe of his talent. And to me personally, I feel like he's the most talented, gifted, and talented race car driver that ever stepped in a car.
Wow. It's like you two made each other better. And Denny, I want to thank you for being here with us this morning. I know how difficult this is for you, and our thoughts are with you. Our thoughts are with Kyle and his family as well, and the entire NASCAR community. So thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Shock.
There you go. I mean, wow. Again, gotta be tough. And I love the candid memories from Denny and his candid thoughts. I mean, and I love that. I love Denny Hamlin because he's so humble, right? One of the guys I've always liked. When people have to say, I remember, all right, so I think it was at my dad's. We were watching NASCAR, and I'm like, just watching this. I was like, yeah, they go to the races. My dad goes to the races, or used to. I'm like, I don't know anything about this. I just know they get in cars, they drive around in circles. Right, that was my thing. Just get around in cars, drive around in circles. And then you start watching some of the drivers or explaining to the drivers. I'm like, oh, I like this guy. Then, of course, everybody knew who Dale Earnhardt was. And Junior, for that matter. Knew that. Growing up, I was a Richard Petty guy. I mean, I liked Richard Petty. I liked his car. I just liked Richard Petty's look, the skinny cowboy. And then you find guys like Denny Hamlin, you learn their stories and things like that. You go, oh, I'm kind of like that guy. Unfortunately, and this is from Mike, unfortunately, people do die in their 40s. My brother and 3 of my childhood friends died from natural causes in their 40s. Yes, and I've had, unfortunately, several of those too. Daughter and granddaughter loved Kyle Busch, mostly because of the M&M car, which we saw a little bit of the M&M car on the screen there, which is kind of cool looking. I said, I haven't watched an NASCAR in forever. I can't tell you. The last time I saw a race was maybe 8-9 years ago. Maybe. And I don't know. And then I'm going to show you something. And I don't know how true this is, but if y'all want to see it, well, I'm going to put this up on the screen. Supposedly, this was from 2 days ago. Now, for those of you who are just listening through Spotify, through Amazon Podcast, or through Apple Podcasts and Amazon Music, I don't know why I try to flip those two around all the time. I'll explain to you what's happening here. Just let me get it pulled up. Just let me get it pulled up on the screen so my live audience can kind of see this, and those who are watching on YouTube and Rumble and Facebook. So y'all can kind of see this. I'll pull this up. So this right here was supposedly a couple of days ago. Let me make sure I'm not lying to you. So yeah, the poster says this was just 2 days ago. Kyle Busch was racing his son at the new go-kart track in Durham, North Carolina. I nearly got to race with him. I'm shocked and devastated. I spent a lot of time around Kyle all afternoon Tuesday. So check this out. It's a short little clip. It's a beautiful card.
You got old Kyle Busch over here. Come on, Kyle Busch. Don't let them kids whip up on you.
How cool is that? You'll see Kyle in the back here. He's just out having a good time.
You got old Kyle Busch over here.
Right? That's wild. It's wild. And was that the day he did the simulator? I wonder. I kind of wonder about that. But I mean, so again, just tragic that this happened. Another one here says Kyle Busch said to the infield doctor he wanted a shot to combat a sinus infection after the race 10 days ago at Watkins Glen. He ends up in the hospital on Thursday as a result. Just died today, which would have been yesterday. Oh, come on, dude. Really? You're saying what? Because I have one question. What in the hell was in that shot? It wasn't the shot. It had nothing to do with the shot. I do not believe it had anything to do with that shot. I lean in towards a couple things. I've already said those. I won't repeat that. And we'll find out for sure exactly what was going on and what happened. But you can already see like conspiracy theories floating around. And this was the quote I was telling you about at the start of the show. And I will play this for you because it did trip me out. I'm not going to lie. It tripped me out a little bit here. But take a look at this and tell me what you think about it. I mean, it's things like this always trip me out, but that's just how my mind works. But here we go. Here we go. This is Kyle Busch last Friday. I believe it was last Friday. Or the 10th. So it was a couple Fridays ago. He was victorious. This is when he won that event in the trucks. May 10th. He was victorious for the 234th time. Cherishing it because we never know what's around the corner in life. And that's one of the most haunting and heartbreaking moments I've seen in sports. I'm absolutely stunned right now. Just take a listen. Here we go. Reporters talking to him after the victory. And here's Kyle Busch responding.
Why do these moments never get old, Kyle?
Because you never know when the last one is, so...
Why do these moments never get old, Kyle?
Because you never know when the last one is, so...
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's just so heartbreaking. I mean, it is. How do you not see that and just go, man? There's just so many friends and reaching out. Again, and here's another one from Brad Keselowski saying, we were rivals. We were not friends. But I think there was a mutual respect. To say that the NASCAR community is stunned is really an understatement. And people are really taking this silence cold and running with it. I mean, just running with it. And they're looking at one little thing here and now I think recognizing the bigger picture here. Untreated, mistreated, whatever, could have led to pneumonia, could have led to an embolism, could there have been a blood clot. There's so many possibilities as to what could have caused all this. And we will find out. But I don't think making crazy statements, and especially uneducated statements, meaning that you don't know what it is. Not saying the person making them is stupid. We're saying when we're talking about uneducated, it means you don't know. You don't. And Kyle's personality was the shot in the arm NASCAR needed. It was. This dude was brash and bold, cocky, arrogant, and could back it all up. And it's, it's just tragic. I just feel so bad for his kids and his wife. By everything I've seen on here, I mean, he had such a profound relationship, and his wife and his kids made such a difference in his life. It's tough. It's tough. And I could, here's the thing about being a podcaster and doing some of the things that I'm doing here, and that any of us do in this space. Like, I'm about to play you another clip I don't really want to play, but I feel if I don't play it, we're not being totally 100% transparent. So I'm going to play this. You can make up your own mind on what you think about it. And this just leads to more of the critics of we don't really know what happened, but here's just a little look into what one of the possibilities could have been. Let me get that set up for you guys. Here we go. All right, so you're going to hear him asking for medical attention over the radio. That's what this clip right here is. So just give it a listen.
Kyle Busch has been suffering from a sinus cold all week. Lost 5 spots on that pit stop. He has asked to have medical attention available after the race. Here's his radio.
And can somebody try to find Bill Heisel? He's the Hendrick doctor guy. Tell him I need him after the race, please. Hey, do you want Mr. Bill at your car or at your bus after the race? Bus. I'm gonna need a shot. Copy. He'll be at your bus.
Racing can't be any fun when your head is completely stuffed up like that. It's the worst. Kyle Busch.
There you go. You have to make of that what you will. But that leading up to this sudden illness, I don't know that it was sudden. It's been building, it sounds like, for a couple of weeks now and just progressively got worse. And it could be, and this happens all the time, to where we think our illness is one thing. We believe it's just another cold because we've had colds. We've had head colds. We've had sinus attacks. And we believe it's the one thing. And then suddenly it's become this whole other deal. I thought the Carolina Hurricanes had a cool thing. They did a tribute to Kyle Busch before their game 1 last night. That's hockey. And again, it's wild. And there's another clip of him attending the grand opening of Mario Andretti's indoor karting and games, which is a clip we saw earlier. That's where he was at, and that actually happened on Tuesday. So just so we're getting the timeline correct. That guy said the day before, which would have been Wednesday, it was actually on a Tuesday, it looked like. Again, it's tough. And here's we'll see what this is. And this is, I'll play one for you. It's a little different. This has nothing to do with his death. This is just a little fun little clip of some of the best Kyle Busch moments. How about that? Let's kind of leave this thing on something a little happier. Something a little more that's tolerable. It just seems like more and more having to report on these celebrity deaths, and it's tough, man. It's tough. But here we go. Let's do this. This is ranking the best Kyle Busch moments. There's 6 of these on here. Let's see what they are. This should be interesting.
Everything's great. I'm just here so I don't get fined. Pure talent. That's about it. My pit crew did absolutely nothing to help me out tonight. My truck drove and these splitters are absolutely horrendous. I don't know, 2-3 laps later, it blew out.
And for these guys, it was actually a broken A-arm that had them in the evening from there.
I'm not surprised about anything. Congratulations.
15 Cup Series champion.
I don't know what y'all are whining about, but if you don't like that kind of racing, don't even watch.
Everything's great. Looking forward to getting back to the racetrack and getting into my race car.
Are you okay with Joey moving forward?
Everything's great. Really looking forward to getting in my race car and getting back here at Phoenix.
Speaking of that, are you glad that this is over and now you can get in the car where you're comfortable and get back to racing?
Everything's great. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
There you go. That's pure Kyle Busch. That is pure Kyle Busch right there. And look, that's what people loved and hated about the guy when it came to the competitive part. Wow, I mean, woof. I mean, there are plenty of Kyle Busch moments. There are. I mean, y'all want some more Kyle Busch moments? I'll give you some more Kyle Busch moments. I mean, here's one. Here's one where he punched Joey Logano in the face. He just went up and punched him in the face. This is after that race. Y'all remember this incident? This is what, 9 years ago? But still, this was intense. Wow. There you go. Kyle Busch, everybody. Thomas Annunziata, he's a driver I did not know. I do not know who this young man is, but he said he's like the Michael Jackson of my world. I've looked up to him for years, and he's the reason why I got into NASCAR. Jimmy Johnson said Kyle Busch was a spirited, ruthless competitor on track. I use ruthless in the best way possible. And so there we are. And there we are. Again, another clip. That guy did post it was on Tuesday. I misread it as Wednesday or the first time we did it, but it was Tuesday when he visited that car track. So just so we're clear. Just so we're clear. And then you see this. And this is what I'm going to leave you with visually on this podcast if you're watching. Just this beautiful moment. This beautiful, beautiful moment here. And I tell you, this one, if you don't feel something about it, I have to wonder about you. So let's check it out. This is Kyle and his daughter.
Wasn't it just yesterday I felt your skin on mine, held you in my arms, fell in love 1,000,000,000 times, from crawl to walk, first breath to talk, to letting go of that bike with the training wheels off. Oh, but watch that clock, those hands, they never stop. Give me a replay, give me a rewind. There's a way to slow down time. Wasn't it just yesterday?
There we are. It's sad. It's sad. Kyle Busch dead at 41. At 41. Yeah, it's tragic. Butterfly kisses. There you go. Children lost their father. Wife lost her husband. And the whole NASCAR world reaching out in sympathy and condolences. So that is today's show. Again, nothing like I expected it to be today. It's not the show I had planned. The show I had planned for today, I'll just move to Monday. But I thought it very, very important to do this. And honestly, I'd only expected to get on here, mention his death. And just the more I got to talking about it and thinking about it, the more it just kind of became today's show. Because it's true. Death has no respect or no care for your position in the world. It doesn't. It doesn't care if you're rich and famous. It doesn't care if you're a celebrity. Death has no bearing on that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. And so telling the people that you care about, that you love them, that they're important to you, should be something you strive to do every single day. It should not be something you put off and say, I can do this another time. Because you never know if there's going to be another time. And so when you have the opportunities, just say it. Let them know. That way they never have to guess. Did daddy love me? Did mama love me? Did my kids love me? They never have to guess. And that's okay too. It never makes you less of a person. It makes you more of one. Take care of the important things in life. Don't FAFO life. Don't. There's no point. Get rid of your pride, your ego. None of that matters. Your pride and your ego don't matter. Your anger issues don't matter. What matters are the people who have invested in you and the people you choose to invest in. And I'm talking about spiritually and emotionally, not monetarily, that's just garbage. But who have you invested yourself in? Who has invested themselves into you and truly invested themselves into you? Because those are the people you should want in your life, who've made your life a little bit better and a little bit easier. Thank you for tuning into the FAFO Podcast this morning. You can find us on Kick and on Facebook Live every morning at 9 a.m. The whole show goes up on YouTube and Rumble later on in the day and on Facebook later on in the day. And if you're just listening to the audio or you'd just like to listen to the audio versions while you're traveling, you can get those on Spotify. You can get that on Apple Podcast and Amazon Music and various other ones. We're real easy to find. Just type in the FAFO Podcast and you got us. You'll see it. The Cowboy Skulls, 09 yards. Cowboy Skulls, cowboy hats. It's us. And right now we have about 13 shows loaded up. New ones every day. Because we like talking about things you like talking about. The world around us, what's going on from an everyday neighborly perspective from the people you know. Guys, be safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend. Unchained will be tomorrow night at 9 p.m. right here on Kick. It's a wilder version of this show. Who knows what's going to happen and what's going to be said. Who knows what we're going to talk about. I would imagine we do talk about this a little bit too, because my partner is a NASCAR fan. So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. But be careful out there. You are listening to the Fuck Around and Find Out podcast. Facts, truth, no BS. Let's effing go.
Floor on the floor, have a tank of gas. Does he boots on the wood, let the whiskey pass? I ain't preaching from a pulpit, I'm talking from the scar. You can dress up a lie, but it won't get far. They call it toxic when it burns your tongue. I call it true when it's finally sung. Got a dog-eared Bible of the things they hide, and a match for the curtains, let the daylight shine. You want comfort, son, you missed your time.